Hey everybody, Regina Anley here, and it is time for Coffee with Regina. However, my special guest today, Wendy Weber, has not yet joined me, so I'm going to give her a couple minutes because sometimes we have those computer issues that for things that aren't quite working right. So I'm going to give Wendy a couple minutes to come on. In the meantime, I'm going to tell you about Wendy. Because if she doesn't make it today, we will have her back because I'm pretty excited about having her here today. Wendy is someone who lives a vibrant melody of resilience and empowerment her life. And she has over 5 decades of experience as a parrot owner, and her spirit resonates with the colorful personalities of her feathered companions. So she's an energy healing practitioner, and she challenges her vibrant energy to transform lives and create a harmonious balance of well-being. She is a longtime singer-songwriter and lyricist, and that adds another layer to her rich tapestry. Her expertise is in crafting parodies and original songs for individuals, organizations, and events that infuse joy and creativity in every note. So I was really excited about having Wendy here today. And if Wendy doesn't show up in the next minute or so, we will call it a day, and we will have her back on another day. Wendy is just an amazing person. When I first met Wendy comes around and she joins you with her ukulele, and she can make a song out of just about anything. So when it comes to your business, if you were ever wondering if you could have one of those little jingles that everybody remembers you by, they say music saves, what is it? Music calms the savage beast. So when it comes to the music, it's a catchy thing to help people remember you. I mean, I remember commercials and jingles from back in the 70s. Yeah, that's how old I am. And and even the 60s. And so when you think about those tunes that make people, remember you and remember your brand, it's a really cool thing. So I am not seeing Wendy come in here. I am wondering if Wendy is having some technical difficulties. Oh, here she is right now. So I am going to bring her right on.
I had a reboot. I mean, I don't know.
Wendy, I already gave everybody your bio, and I figured I'd just hang here because literally right before I jumped on, I had to reboot too. I don't know what's going on in the universe right now, but everybody's having tech problems. So I completely get it. And I just told everybody that you always show up with your little ukulele there, and you always just are ready to make a song. So welcome, Wendy.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you were able to make it.
I'm so glad we had this time together.
I love talking to you. Every time I see you in a networking event or wherever we end up meeting up, you are just full of energy, full of life, full of song. I just read, part through what you sent me for your bio and about your parrots. So before we go into your music, tell me what it is with the parrots and why they resonate so much with you.
Well, the reason I have parrots is when we first got married, my late ex wanted a bird. I wanted a cat. I lost. So we got a parrot. And following that, we got a greater sulfur crested cockatoo after seeing the bird show at Busch Gardens. I think it was the one in California. And listen, we jumped into that with both feet, and we just had a 1-bedroom apartment. So we have the Panama parrot, which is a subspecies of the yellow nape. But the ones you normally see have the yellow head and the yellow nape, and then there's the double. Well, this is the subspecies of the yellow nape, a little bit smaller. They're usually about 15 inches. He was about 12, and I had him for 31 and a half years. So after having parrots, and at one time we had up to 4, it's hard to go back. And I still wouldn't mind having a cat, but my birds prefer not to be lunch.
I can understand that. And with 4 parrots in the house, was it very musical?
Well,
or squawky?
It could be, yeah, it could be. And we also had, by that time, we had 3 kids. So we had the parrots came first. An interesting thing, my daughter with Down syndrome, who's the middle child, when she was really little, it seemed that she wasn't hearing. So I took her to be tested at ASU. So I'm in Phoenix area. We went to the Arizona State University, some facility there, and they put this electric thing on her head to test her hearing. Well, she was hearing. The upshot was that one of the things that babies do not like are really loud noises.
Mm.
And my cockatoo was a really loud noise. And he would go and spread his wings and he claimed her. But that shut her down with the hearing.
Ah.
So once we understood that, we were able to do something about it.
So now tell me a little bit about how you got into the music, because you said you had 3 kids too. So, I mean, it sounds like you have a very musical house.
Well, right now, it's just mainly myself and the parrots. My housemate doesn't sing. But when I grew up, we had the radio, we had some television, right? We had the 3 channels plus maybe whatever your local one was. But the radio was where the music was, and you had your record player. And I still have my dad's old records and mine, and I have a record player, and I use it sometimes. It is a better sound. But what did we hear? I listened to what they listened to.
Mhm.
We had classical, we had musicals, and then there was the standards on the radio. I probably started singing at 3, maybe even before that, whenever I started to talk. And I harmonized everything. I sang the songs, and then somehow harmony came out. So I'm really good in harmony. And we had baby grand piano we lived in an apartment in Chicago, and it was in the living room. They took up most of the living room. And I was always playing on it. My dad taught me the old knuckle chopsticks,
Mhm.
which is still a lot of fun. That's done on the black keys, in case people want to know. And I begged and begged for piano lessons. So at 7, I got piano lessons. And at 8, I had my first appearance at the Goodman Theater, because the place that had the piano teacher was a dance studio, and she had a big recital every year at the Goodman Theater. We had to sell tickets for that when my mother did.
Mhm.
So I appeared at the Goodman Theater at 8, and I played Buzzing Bee. And that was the first time I had my own new dress, because I wore a lot of hand-me-downs. We didn't have a lot of money coming in. I was the second child, and my brother had epilepsy, and the meds cost a lot.
Yeah. So when you think about all that music, because I know you're an energy healer and practitioner,
Right.
and so do you wrap the music into that as well?
Only from the standpoint of there are tools associated with that I can teach my clients to help protect them. Because what I do with the energy is mainly I move out the negative energy and I put in the positive energy. If you don't, and many modalities do not do this, or don't do it as effectively or sustainably. But if you don't move out the negative energy, the positive energy, it gets muddled.
Mhm.
It's not like there's a barrier. So if you have a wound, do you just slap on a dressing, or do you clean it first?
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
Same thing with energy. And there's all kinds of energy modalities. There's so many. I mean, I boggles my mind when I hear somebody else doing this and that. I did not believe in energy at all. I was looking for something to help my daughter who has Down syndrome. She was getting into trouble and she couldn't say why. She could never answer a why question. It did not compute. That's way too abstract. I didn't know what else to do. I met this lady at a women's event, and she said, "Why don't you come to a class?" Because I said, I wanted to help for my daughter. I went to the class. I wasn't going to, and I changed my mind. I went to the class. No expectations whatsoever. None. Half a morning, I felt the edge of the energy field around the fellow student. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, this is real. So I took
Mm.
more classes because it made sense. The world was starting to make more sense. The things that happened, the music also made more sense. It's an energy, it's an intuitive. It goes through me half the time. Some of it I have to really work at, but a lot of it just starts with, I don't know where it came from. And so I learned that I could take classes on learning to heal. And I mainly was going to work on myself. And I learned I could heal others too. So that was the start of the energy healing business. When I found out, still not quite believing everything. And what happened was that I was on a diving trip. I got certified at the age of 60. I was on a diving trip, and my daughter Layla, who learned to snorkel, was with me, but she was just going to snorkel. But some of the divers paid extra for a shark dive. The gentleman sitting next to me had the jump seat pulled back so people could get in the back of the van, and then he dropped the jump seat on his big toe.
Ouch. Ouch.
Yes. Big time ouch. And he howled, and he knew what I did, and I don't think anybody believed me. And he said, help. In 10 minutes, I did my thing. People call it the wavy hand. Where's the screen there? The wavy hand thing. It's really not that, but that's what it looks like to you. It's actually very deliberate. I did it for 10 minutes. I didn't even know what was going to happen. Almost right away, the pain stopped. And he had no bruising, no swelling, no nothing. He was able to do the dive. And when he got back to the resort, still no residual. There were never any effects. And I have a testimonial from him. And I had people in the van who witnessed it.
That is amazing. So, a lot of people, when they think about energy healing and that kind of thing, they think of it as that woo-woo stuff, right? And I mean, everything is energy. So I'm a firm believer of energy healing. And no matter what your problem is, that, you might not be able to completely reverse something depending on how bad it is. However, you could definitely subside some of the symptoms from it with energy healing. And so it's funny to me sometimes because you see people doing energy healing and I look at it and I'm like, and I believe in it. And at the same time, I'm like, and then it works. And I have never seen anybody who is a good energy healer like you are, that it didn't work. It's something always happens, whether it's, like that guy with his toe and the whole thing, no bruising, no swelling, no nothing, or just something, it could be something subtle. Something always changes because the energy shifts. I mean, that's the whole point behind the energy healing is to shift the energy out.
Yes, that and the thing that really stood out to me, because even I was amazed. I didn't know that was going to happen. I just did what I was taught. But he got to me right away. The longer you have it, the longer it might take to remediate. So that's something. I've helped people with laryngitis and illness. I had COVID. Now, I have not been vaccinated. Do not get needles near me for that. You can take a blood test to test me, but don't add anything anymore. But I was at an event and I wasn't wearing a mask, and a few of us got COVID, and I was, sick. It's like a bad flu for a couple of weeks. Got through it with oregano and things like that. But Energy Mastery came up with a COVID protocol, added on to the cold and flu protocol. And I used that, and I used those, and I got over it, and I haven't been sick since. So I have natural immunity.
It's amazing how well energy can work. Just knowing how to shift the energies, and for the people like you who have practiced and know how to help shift energy in others. So I do that for myself all the time. I don't think I'd ever know how to really do it for somebody else. For me, I work on my energy constantly. For somebody else, I'd send them to somebody like you and say, you need somebody who really knows how to work others.
And there are tools that I use all day long. So to cut the negative, energy is always around us. Everything transmutes. energy doesn't go away. It just changes into something else.
Right.
So that we get negative energy thrown at us all the time, including from our own minds. So I teach people and I use the tools to cut the negative energy. And you can get it from a telephone call, you can get it from the internet, big time. You want to use these tools after you get off Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram or any of those where negative energy goes through. I help people remotely. Why? How can I do that? Because nothing blocks the energy. So I can feel your energy. Now, I wouldn't work on you without permission, but I can feel your energy right through here. It's amazing. How does that work? I don't know. I don't explain physics. It's physics.
Hopefully it's good energy.
Yeah, what?
I said, hopefully it's good energy coming from me right now.
Oh, well, yeah. You got a nice solid field. It's you can tell you work on yourself. You have a nice field. It's clear. It's
Yeah.
clear. It feels good. It doesn't feel it's solid. You've got a nice protection around yourself. So excuse me, for people who don't know, the auric field, a healthy one, is 12 to 24 inches outside your body. And I get on some of these classes. I'm doing a class right now on making offers, but it needs to make more sense. I don't like asking for the money, but I need to, and money is just an energetic exchange for a service. Really, that's all it is. But we grow up thinking that money is hard. Some people think money is evil, and it's not. It's how you use it. But no, I'm trying to think of what my point was going to be. But when everybody's doing this energy to get rid of blockages. So one of the things that's important for me to do is to do at least a short protocol before I perform, before I did a whole energy exercise before breakfast, and I had a healthy breakfast, because it's all energy. And when if you have something wrong with you and you're eating poorly, you don't take care of yourself, there's only so much the energy can do. You have to take some responsibility. I learned that about a little over 20 years ago when I learned about health and food and everything else, because I didn't always know that. My mother didn't.
Mm-hmm.
The next one will teach it.
Yeah, and that's a great tip for everybody, because, if there's something going on, understanding that, you have a choice, you have to be responsible for it. I literally had this conversation with my trainer last night. So I went to my trainer, I've gained some weight back because I've gone off of eating what I normally eat because, I told him, I said, my mouth thinks it tastes really good. The rest of the body doesn't like it. And he asked me, he goes, what is the trigger? Why are you doing that? And that's where the energy comes in, because it was like, yeah, there was a shift. And now I'm working on shifting it back again to where it needs to be. Until you actually recognize that and take that responsibility that, you did this. I'm the one who put the food in my mouth. Yeah, great. It tasted good. The rest of my body went, we don't want this stuff. So the rest of my body, the energy was like, get it out, get it out, get it out. And yet I still kept eating it. So it's not until you go, okay, I did this. I need to make a change. I need to take 100% responsibility. And once I do that, now I can start shifting. And I felt my whole energy shift when I made the firm decision going, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's amazing. And this information has been out for thousands of years, predates anybody and the religions that we know. And organized religion seemed to quash it, but then it's also a patriarchal society, and most religions are patriarchal. So that we were told, or we were led to believe, that there isn't anything like that except prayer. Now, prayer is a form of energy. And I guess what I learned, but what I think really does work, is that if you make a prayer, your answer comes back in intuition. And I started to tell you guys, but sometimes the answer is no.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Kathy just put on here, food is thy medicine from Hippocrates.
Uh,
Yeah,
e- exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So I do a lot of things with. I really should start learning more about the herbs.
Mhm.
I eat a lot of things out of my backyard, which is totally volunteer right now. The lettuce came up by itself, so I let it all bolt. Bolt means letting it go to seed, and it blows everywhere. And we had some rain. Now it's coming up everywhere. Okay. The edible weeds that I learned about, my fruit trees. Funny thing, a couple of years ago, all my grapefruit seemed to fall down in clumps, and I couldn't eat it that fast. So I just decided to peel it, freeze it in sections. It was wonderful. Now I have to do it with my tangerines. It's the same. It's the same thing. I think it has to do with we had this really hot summer,
Mhm.
long hot summer.
So I know the herbs and stuff. I want to shift because we don't have a lot of time, and so I know you do all the energy healing, which I definitely wanted to talk about. And you've already given a couple really great tips about that, and taking that responsibility. And if you got something that's really stuck, what I heard was you need to remove that negative stuff before the positive stuff can really take hold.
Right.
And yeah,
And that's
so
just that's very general because
mhm,
we work our way from the outside in. After we have to clear some outside junk, and then we work on the different chakras. And depending on what's going on with you, we have different protocols.
yeah,
And then we practitioners, we get intuitive hits about what else to work on. And that has to do with the conversation we have first. What's going on with you? Do you have pain anywhere? And we work on those areas too. It makes a huge difference. But I myself and other people love being worked on.
mhm,
It just feels so good. And that's why I like to go to class so I can get work done. Because I work on myself,
yeah.
it's not the same thing. I have to stay present. When I get work done, when you get work done, you get to check out. It's just, you might be standing up and still you're somewhere else.
I love that. So
Yeah.
as we move on, because I want to make sure we hit this, because you have that piece of what you do in your business, and then you have another side of your business, which is actually energy, because music is energy.
Yes. Turn me
And
around.
yep. And so music is, I mean, it's one of my go-tos. And when I first
Mhm.
read your bio, um, um, I had mentioned about, all of your stuff there, and that, back in the day, I mean, I still remember jingles from, the 60s and 70s. And because music catches your attention and it helps you with your brand. And tell
Mhm.
us a little bit about what do you do with the music? And I know you got your ukulele there.
Yeah. Well, mainly, my favorite thing to do is take your story and make it rhyme. So people remember you every time. Now I do longer songs, and my CD, which is called Journeys, and I didn't think to get it handy, but here it is. Journeys.
Awesome.
And they are for sale. But they turned out to be message songs. These are songs that I wrote mainly for me, my family, and just for things I choose to choose. And the song about 35 years in Arizona, which this last year I sang 45 years in Arizona because it's my song, I can change it. And I decided not to sue myself for ruining it, but uh, I like to have fun. But the idea is when you do it in song, there is some kind of an energy exchange, and I don't know what it is, and I don't care, but it's people remember it. I remember when I was at my job, I worked for a financial services company for almost 15 years. We had a choir there. A lot of companies have choirs. I don't know if UPS still does, but they have choirs. I was in that, and as part of that, I was writing parodies. I was asked to do that. Did original music, and we had the United Way. All the big companies do United Way, and we had these talent shows. And I always did something that was pertinent to the United Way theme, to United Way itself, to my company, and to the business in general, the financial services. Everybody else did covers, or there was some juggling and bands, but they all did covers. But I did something that was pertinent. I did that for my network marketing company too. And I have a lot of experience. Excuse me. Still early morning for me. I'm an award-winning songwriter because I got an award from my company for that. Even when I had my retirement party, I went with a song, which is the last song on my CD, my goodbye song. And I had a lot of fun with that and put that together. It didn't take me too long, and I did it between phone calls. So I have the ability, once I have the idea. I'm working on an anniversary song right now. I'm working through the information they gave me. We'll have a meeting. I'll have some more questions. They gave me some ideas of the type of music they want. They want about their love story. And so I will take that. I'm going to, let it percolate and do some research on the music as well, and see what comes out, because something wonderful will come out. And it's something that they'll be able to play over and over again. It can be put under a slideshow or a video that they have made of their party. I will be there to sing it live. And what a wonderful thing to elevate not only your occasion, your party, your product, your business, whatever, but it's yours. It doesn't belong to anybody else. It's nobody else's story. Isn't that amazing? And I wrote a song about my mother, 2007. And she and my oldest daughter and I went on a trip to Africa. I practiced this song. My daughter spent time with my mother, roomed with her, and I had this roll-up piano, which you can't really play because it doesn't move, but you can do chords on it. And I had a rhythm component. I practiced this song, and I sang it for my mother with our group in front of everybody and edified her. And later on, after she passed away, I used it to help to talk about music and your song and helping with grief. Because that's another type of energy. You have to go through it, but maybe we can smooth it out a little bit. It's not as painful. Oh, I sang this song showing people what it could do. Excuse me. And a friend of mine who ran that particular event said at another event, after I heard this song, I knew who this woman was. Wow. I just wrote it for my mother for fun and for her, because what kind of a gift can I give to my mother or to somebody I love better than a song about them? And by the way, the first original song I wrote was for my daughter Layla. She's the one with Down syndrome, for her bat mitzvah. I don't know if anybody's ever been to a bar bat mitzvah, but the parents, at least in the Reform tradition, the parents say something nice about them after they've done all their teaching and their speech and everything else, the Torah chanting. And I was writing a poem because my daughter did chant a portion of the Torah. Now she did it from memory because she couldn't read Hebrew. But this tune kept poking at me, wouldn't leave me alone. I said, all right, you're a song. Came out gorgeous. It's on her video. Now, I have never recorded. I will record it because it says at least who she was. She has Alzheimer's now, so she's not the same person, unfortunately, which is very, very sad. But, and I see her every week. She hasn't lived with me for a long time. But when I sing that song, that's her song about her. And it's actually entitled You Are Layla. What do you have? What can you give somebody? What can you do for your event that is elevated by the song, that people, when they hear that, they think of you or that person or your business?
So
That's
so you can write something that's powerful for all kinds of things. So,
yeah.
you know, you mentioned the anniversary, you mentioned your mom's song, your daughter's song. I know you write songs for people who are having like seminars and summits and stuff like that to
I did a summit wrap up, yeah, for a summit I was at. I happened to be live there. I'm sitting there with my little iPad. But I've also done it for fundraisers. I did one for the fundraiser for one of my daughter's camps, the Lions Camp Tadia, and I don't have it up and I don't remember all of it, but how I rhyme Tadia? And something just came out. I see. I reckon that a lot of you have not heard of Camp Tadia. So I was thanking the outfit. It was the Biltmore Golf Club that was raising money, and we were there. They rotated different campers and their parents, and put a little something in about what camp did for her for one particular event.
Mhm,
So that personalizes it to her and shows what camp does,
mhm,
and that's something that you learn in speaking, but it translates into singing into song as well.
mhm. If somebody was looking, because we're running just over time, but I know we came on a little bit late, so we're going to keep going for a couple minutes here. If somebody was looking, number one, to get a hold of you for energy pieces,
Mhm.
or for, you know, some kind of maybe a little jingle for their business or their product, or to, you know, set them apart. I'm all about helping people and business owners set themselves apart from everybody else, and I can't think of a better way to set yourself apart than to have your own
Yeah,
personal jingle.
yeah, and on your website or maybe on your phone if it's short enough, your message. Sure, why not? So you want to know how to get hold of me? Is that it?
Absolutely. How do we
Oh,
find you out there if we want to do this? Because it sounds so cool.
yeah. Well, I don't have a website right now. I have to rethink all of that. But the best way to do that is to email me, Wendy, Wendy, at, you know, that little at sign, Wendy Weber Music.com. And Weber is with one B, like the grill.
Let's see.
And
Did
put
spell
in
this
the
right?
subject, um, energy, or I specialize in pain. So, or pain, or music, song, so that
Yep.
I know that it's something I want to open.
Yeah, so I mean, I hear you saying that, and when I first asked you about the music and the energy, and do you use music in part of your energy healing, you know, that harmony of the music, it is healing for some people, and
It
so
is.
I'm hearing that, you know, there's a piece of it that once you do the energy healing and you help somebody move through something, especially if it's something significant,
Sure.
you know, having something that belongs to them that they can then um, you know, remember. I don't know about you, but and I think it's true for most people is that when you put something to song and you have that melody that goes with it, you remember it
Yes.
better.
Oh, I have something in the energy that we say that's in, I think it's in Sanskrit. And the way I learned it was to make a little chant out of it. And I could do that for people. I can make a chant. I can make a little song. What is it you need to remember? What do you need to trigger not to eat that thing? What do you need to trigger? It's time to do my exercise. What do you need to trigger what it is you need to do?
Mhm.
What do you need? Do you want a song, a lullaby, a little different lullaby for your children, your baby or your grandbaby, because you're the grandma or the grandpa and you want to have, this is yours. My
Mhm.
dad made up a song that was just ours, and we never sang it on key. The point was to sing it off key. But pals, pals, pals will always be pals. What you do is okay with me. And we would sit there and we'd sing that together, and he made that up. That is so special. So whenever I sing about his memory, and I've done songs about my parents, you know, I sing that song at the end when I do it on him. I did write a song about my mother. As I get older, I get a bit bolder. I'm turning into my mother. Boy, did I have people say, "Oh my God!" Look in the mirror and I see my mother. And I did a bunch of stuff. My dad was in there a little bit in that song. I don't know where that came from. But it was so much fun to do, and it was so much fun to sing. And I'm sorry, my mother had already passed away, but people resonate with that.
Mm-hmm.
People say, "Oh, you look like your mother." This went beyond that, but I don't know where some of these things come from. They just come on out.
It's inside of you, and now you're sharing your abilities with the rest of the world, and it's absolutely amazing. So we are now out of time, and
Mm.
so I did put your email in the comments, and I'll make sure that everybody has that out there, because I can just see so many applications
Mhm.
for that little piece of music, whether it's a jingle or whether it's something for, a loved one or something going on or a special occasion. I also can hear from a business standpoint. As a business consultant, I'm always looking for business opportunities and,
Mm.
how to put people together. And I'm just thinking that what you do is a great add-on for other people, for their clients, people who
Yes.
are working as caregivers that need a little
Oh,
pick me up or anything like that. I can just see how your music and your energy would resonate.
well, here's another thought that somebody brought up, because caregivers, I see how I have to take care of my daughter, the things they have to do. And where my mother she was in a wonderful assisted living home here, and she thanked me for that. It took 2 years, but she thanked me for that. But they get burned out. They get stuck energy from anger, from all kinds of frustration. They can't afford me to clear them, but agencies could, so they wouldn't have to keep training people and getting new people and reduce turnover.
Mhm.
That somebody gave me that idea, and I thought, what a good idea. I don't know they have the time to reach out. They want to reach out to me, that's great, but it's something that could really help stabilize. If people get so frustrated, it can be so difficult.
Yeah, I can see how that would work. So we do have to wrap up. Do you have anything you want to play to send us off?
Oh, gee, I don't know. So the song, I didn't have anything out, but I'll sing a little bit about my daughter's song. You are Layla, you bring a song to my heart. You are Layla, determined right from the start. I'm not warmed up. I apologize for that. When you try and succeed by and by, you are Layla.
I love that. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Wendy, for joining us and bringing a little music to our day today, and also helping us out with some great tips for, how to help reset energy.
Yeah.
And if you're out there and you need some help resetting your energy and getting rid of that icky, yucky, negative stuff, contact Wendy, because she is really, really super good at this. I know I've seen her in action on networking groups and in other places, and I know she is so good at this. So thanks for joining us on Coffee with Regina, and we will
Well,
see you next time.
thanks for having me.
There you go. All right, bye for now.